On the album. It is an absolutely fantastic album, and our listeners have loved listening to the tracks. So I was wondering if you could start off by telling us a little bit about where the idea came about to do a cover album during lockdown.
Yeah, we just wanted to challenge ourselves. Everything started from fan requests.
Okay.
Sorry?
Yeah, okay, yep.
Okay. During the pandemic, we thought about releasing something new, and we thought of the Ozzy Osbourne cover song, Get Me Through, because it's a song we had already played live 3 years ago on tour in the UK. So it was more or less ready as a song.
Yeah.
After this release, we thought of doing another song, the placebo song, The Bitter End, which had already been on my mind for a long time. And we had a very positive response. So some of the comments we received about these two music videos said that it would have been great if we recorded a whole album with cover songs. So we started to think about what songs could work for us, and in 2 weeks, only 2 weeks, the album was ready. This is how the album started and the idea started.
Yeah, as a big Placebo fan, I have to say I was such a fan of The Bitter End, the cover that you did. The album has got such a wide variety of artists on it that you cover. How did you actually go through and work out which tracks you wanted to record?
Really, it was very simple because everyone has a different background. So during the choosing stage, we had a long list of songs. Then we tried to keep those we felt were more interesting to cover in our style, of course. In any case, we would never have done cover songs similar to the originals. We hate this way of approaching these kinds of songs. We think that if a listener wants to listen to a cover song, he expects to listen to something different and new. Otherwise, it's better to listen to the original version. This is our idea.
Yep. They do sound very, very different to the originals. How did you go about making sure that that was the case? Did you do a lot of experimentation, like playing out the track 3 or 4 times until you found the way that sounded the most like Secret Rule? How did you go about doing that?
Oh, yeah, our approach was the same one we used to do our music,
Yep.
more or less. So we started with the melodies, specifically the vocal lines, and then Andy worked on the arrangements without considering the original songs. This is important.
Yeah.
In this way, his creativity wasn't influenced by the original songs, and the songs didn't lose their thought essence.
Yeah. So what was the actual recording process like? What was it like being in the studio recording these tracks?
Yeah, usually Andy sent the idea for the new song versions to the others. He collected just suggestions, worked on the song again, and then, since each of us has the possibility of recording our own instrument at home, the process was very easy. In the end, Andy collected all the recording tracks and took care of mixing and mastering in his studio. So it was easy for us.
And the album was recorded in a very short period of time. Did you deliberately set yourself that target, or was that just how it worked out?
Yep, we set to release the album in just 2 weeks because we didn't know when the quarantine period would finish.
Yeah.
But it was important for us to do it before the quarantine ended. Otherwise, the title wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah. So what was the biggest challenge that you faced recording an album so quickly?
No doubt, the biggest challenge was to work on many different songs that required different approaches. But when working with Andy, is always full of surprises because you never know what he will create in a song. Usually, this is the matter.
Yeah.
For example, it was crazy for me to sing "Not Afraid," the Eminem song.
Yep.
It was a tongue twister in addition.
Yeah.
It's not my native language.
Yeah.
I remember when Andy sent me his arrangement, I asked him, and who is going to sing this song? Then, with the help of some dirty words, I succeeded in singing it.
Yeah.
So, it was a great challenge for me, that song.
Yeah. So, was there a particular track that ended up being your favorite?
I've personally chosen Back to Black
Yep.
because I love Amy Winehouse and the sensitivity in her singing. Then Twisted, because it was one of the first covers I sang with my first cover band many years ago. And the Swan Song, because I love Sharon's voice. I love Within Temptation, like everyone, I think.
Yeah.
And I sang this song with a different approach, a fuller voice, stronger voice, because it would have been impossible to be compared to her.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely. Now, aside from recording the album, how have you spent lockdown? Have you found that the lockdown has made you more creative or less creative during that time?
I spent lockdown working from home for a telecommunications company. That's my full-time day job to survive.
Yeah.
And of course, I had more time to bake cakes, as everyone.
Yeah.
The social networks were full of cakes pictures.
Yeah.
Watching TV series, and most of all to dedicate more time to music.
Yeah.
I started to take some growing lessons, and my creativity increased.
Yeah.
I have thousands of things in mind, but I need another pandemic to do all of them.
Yeah.
I'm joking, of course. I hope to go back to normal as soon as possible. I need contact with the others and got to back on the road with my bandmates.
Definitely.
Of course.
Yeah. So what are your plans after the lockdown, and would you ever look to do a show featuring all the tracks on this album?
Absolutely not. we have to promote and perform our latest album again.
Yeah.
Live. Since the pandemic put all our plans on hold. We'll be on tour in September, we hope, with Semblant across the Europe.
Yeah.
And the UK in December as a headliner. This cover album has just been a fun experience related to the pandemic period.
Yeah. Have you been told when the lockdown will end there? We're in our 9th week of lockdown here. Have they told you when the lockdown will end there?
I think the lockdown, every action is important for us.
Yeah.
Following us on our social pages, streaming our music on Spotify, adding our tracks on their playlists, also on YouTube, sharing our posts, leaving comments, spreading the word about us, everything is important. Here in Italy, the lockdown is going better because from the last week we have some freedom.
Yeah.
So we can go out in the parks, we can meet our familiars. Maybe from the next week we no need of the paper with the motivation.
Yeah.
Some kind of shops come back to open. So something is coming back to the normal.
Awesome.
We hope it will go always better.
Yeah. Well, Angela, thank you so much for chatting to us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. The tracks off this album have been played on our station and our listeners have loved it. So thank you so much for chatting to us tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for this space, for the chat. And I want to give a salute to all the listeners and thank you again.